It was one of the wildest shows on TV, turning beat-up junkers into dream machines. Pimp My Ride promised transformations that made fans believe in miracles. But behind the cameras, beneath the chrome and candy paint, there was a dark truth the producers never wanted you to know. What really happened in those garages will change the way you remember the show forever. Script. Back in the early 2000s, Pimp My Ride was the ultimate car lover's fantasy. Each episode followed rapper and host Exhibit as he surprised an unsuspecting car owner with the chance to have their broken-down ride completely transformed. The results were jaw-dropping. Rust buckets became rolling works of art, complete with custom paint jobs, neon lights, and gadgets straight out of a video game. But what viewers didn't see was that much of it was smoke and mirrors. Behind the scenes, Pimp My Ride wasn't the feel-good fairy tale MTV made it out to be. Former contestants and crew members have since revealed shocking secrets about what really went on in those famous garages. For starters, many of the outrageous car features showcased on TV, the fish tanks, popcorn machines, and even jacuzzi seats, were never meant to actually work. In fact, some were removed from the cars immediately after filming because they were unsafe, illegal, or simply impractical. The dream cars fans saw on screen were often stripped back to something far less impressive once the cameras stopped rolling. And that wasn't all. Contestants have spoken out about how their lives were turned upside down by the show. Some were made to look poor or desperate through scripted interviews, while others were forced to exaggerate personal stories for dramatic effect. MTV producers carefully crafted characters rather than telling the truth about the real people behind the cars. What viewers thought were genuine emotional reactions were often the result of hours of reshoots, direction, and heavy editing. Even Exhibit, the show's charismatic host, was largely kept in the dark about the deeper production manipulations. His role was to deliver energy and humor, not to question what went on behind closed doors. The real work was handled by a team of mechanics and designers who were under immense pressure to meet impossible deadlines. In some cases, they had only a few days to completely rebuild a car that, in reality, should have taken months to restore safely. The crew later admitted that shortcuts were taken, and in some cases, those shortcuts made the cars dangerous to drive. One former contestant revealed that her pimped car broke down just days after filming Wrapped. Others said their vehicles were so modified that insurance companies refused to cover them. And the biggest shock of all? Some contestants never even got to keep their cars in the end. Either the show repossessed them for repairs, or the modifications made them illegal to drive on public roads. For a show that claimed to change lives, many participants were left disappointed, stranded, or worse, financially burdened. But perhaps the darkest part of Pimp My Ride was how MTV sold the illusion of transformation. The show gave the impression of generosity and creativity, but behind that image was a network exploiting real people's stories for entertainment. Contestants were often unpaid, overexposed, and left to deal with the aftermath of their 15 minutes of fame. The bright colors and flashy rims distracted viewers from the fact that the show's magic was built on careful deception. When the truth began to leak out years later, fans were stunned. The show that symbolized early 2000s culture, that gave us catchphrases, memes, and unforgettable cars, turned out to be one of reality TV's biggest illusions. The crew and producers may have been forced to hide the truth, but the reality couldn't stay buried forever. In the end, Pimp My Ride wasn't about helping people, it was about building a spectacle. What looked like transformation was often just decoration, what looked like kindness was scripted television. And when the engines stopped and the cameras faded, what was left behind wasn't gold-plated glory, it was just the rusted remains of another TV fantasy gone wrong.